webinar because you want to know more about cloud engineering and how this can benefit you. So we'll go through, ideally it should be 2-hour session, but there are just 3 of us. So if we do it, we finish earlier, then of course, we understand that it's because there are not too many people asking questions. All right. So basically I'm saying at this webinar that I will train you to become a cloud engineer in 6 months. Cloud engineers earn average of $6,000 per month in the US. But generally, the more experienced you are as a cloud engineer, or in any profession for that matter, the more you can earn. So the experienced ones would earn anything from $8,000 per month and above. Then, of course, you would understand that the kind of job that will pay this kind of money would not be the kind of job just anybody can come into. There'll be high barrier. In other words, to come in, there are high standards that you need to meet and a lot of practice in order to qualify for the position. So I'm saying that there is a lot of work to do, a lot of practice to do in order to convert you from whatever you are now to become a cloud engineer. Okay. So I wanted to give you a preamble of who we are as a company, TTC Mobile. We started this whole business in Lagos in 2003. And we had different kinds of training programs, national training programs, ranging from free IT training to national development program in IT, to national ICT summit. In those days, we used to advertise in the Guardian newspaper. Then we had the annual scholarship every year from 2018 to 2011. In 2010, because of the precedences we had, were contracted by the federal government to train Niger Delta youth under the Amnesty program. 2011, I moved. I am as the CEO of the company. I relocated to the UK and took the company with me. So we attempted to start the company afresh in the UK. A lot of things happened. I returned to Nigeria in 2014. But by then, the thing that drives training is employment. By 2014, the employment rate in the telecoms industry had gone down to the level where our trainees were no longer being assimilated in the industry as they used to be. So what am I saying? That business was no longer very profitable. So I knew it was time to move. And then we moved to the US in 2017 to establish TTC Mobile World. But this time, instead of doing telecoms training, we have diverted to the new technology. As at 2003, 2004, up to 2010, telecoms training was the in thing in Nigeria, because virtually everyone who trained had a job potentially waiting. But it's no longer the same. What's in vogue now is cloud engineering. So we have trained and we have the facilities ready, we have the contacts, we have the resources to deliver cloud engineering. So we're starting cloud engineering now in 2020. However, the TTC mobile telecoms training is still running skeletally. It's no longer the focus, only in Nigeria. The cloud engineering is the in thing. Okay. I guess you guys are still there. Prince, will you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, Ibikunle, are you there?
Yes, please, go.
Okay. Aziz.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. So that was just the preamble of who are these people, where are they coming from? All right. So as for me as a person, as Akin Aregbesola, I've had 15 years of experience setting up TTC, working in various organizations. So I'm familiar with the entire OSI model for IT, from cabling to wireless, switching, routing, installation, configuration of server, and so on and so forth. But right now, and in the last 3 years, to be specific, I have focused on cloud. So I am a cloud engineer now. I'm AWS certified solutions architect. I had my telecoms training in the US. Even while I was still in Nigeria, I used to come around to the US to do training. I'm a certified requirement engineer. Requirement engineering is an arm of business analysis. So I have a master's degree in business administration, postgraduate diploma in IT, and originally bachelor's degree in electrical engineering. I live in the US, where I am holding this meeting from, and I work here as an IT consultant. So basically, on this project, I will be your coach. I'll be the coach and administrator. My knowledge of IT is horizontal. In other words, I know a lot of technologies around IT. Then I also work with other people who have vertical knowledge in these areas of IT. In other words, they may not know as much broadly, but whatever they know it in depth. So they have vertical knowledge of different areas of IT. So my job is to coordinate all of these team members, including yourself, to the common goal of the project, which is to make you employable for cloud engineering related roles at the end of 6 months. At the end of 6 months, you'll become a cloud engineer, not just for the title's sake, but to be employable, ultimately get a job, whether in whatever capacity, whether as paid or as self-employed or project-based kinds of job. So that's the preamble, that's where we're coming from, and that's the goal of the training. Now, let's give you an insight into what cloud is, cloud engineering. My assumption is you guys are new and you don't know what this cloud engineering really is. So what is cloud engineering? If I say you're a cloud engineer, what do I mean? Before you understand what cloud engineering is, let us see what traditional IT system is like. So are you guys from Lagos?
Yes.
For
Aziz,
Prince,
Aziz is from Lagos.
Okay.
Ibikunle is Lagos.
Okay, Princeway?
Port Harcourt.
Port Harcourt, okay. So Princeway, in Port Harcourt, you want to set up, suppose you want to set up, you have a job to set up a network for Glo, for example. Glo has a small office, they want to connect 50 computers so that they'll have staff each on each of the computers, and rather than they'll basically be able to share resources using networks. So the first thing you want to do is go to Ogbuna Bale, buy computers. I mean, if you are sourcing them locally, and then for one computer, you would assemble, put the hard disk, the motherboard, put everything on the case, screw them, connect them together using the cables provided. And then once you have the hardware ready, you begin to convert them to systems proper by first of all putting an operating system, for example, Windows 10 on one system. And then you configure the Windows 10, then you now put your application packages, your MS Office, for example. So you can do Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and all of that. You put your internet browser, and if there is, the reason Glo is setting up this network is they have a proprietary software application, maybe a call center application that each person needs to have. And then you put that call center application on the system that you have designed, you have assembled. At the end of that, what do? You now connect crimp cables, straight through cables. You connect each of those, you connect that computer, that one computer, to a switch. And then you repeat this same thing you just did for this one computer. You do it for all the other 49 computers. At the end of the day, what do you have? You have 50 computers, all loaded with operating systems, with MS Office, and with the Glo proprietary customer service software. All of them connected together through a switch. So now you have a network of course, there are other things you need to do on the network. We'll talk about that. You set up your server, you promote the server to domain controller, and for each of the persons using the 50 computers, you set up a domain account. So they have a username, they have a password. You set up a firewall so that you can block and you can restrict and whatever, restrict and allow access to the various computers. So it's broad. What you could do on that network is broad. These are just the basic things that you run on the network as an IT engineer. Before you now call the project management, whoever is responsible in Glo, and say, I have completed my work. This is the work. You hand over to them and they pay you off. So this is how traditional IT systems are built. So the difference now is IT systems are no longer built like that. IT systems are no longer built by going to the market to buy hardware and do all the spending, all the job, all by yourself. No. The way IT structures are built now is someone somewhere is already providing the CPU, the hard disk, the memory, all the different kinds of computers and servers that you can possibly assemble. They are providing the software, the operating systems, whether it is Windows, whatever variant of Windows that you want, or whether it's going to be Linux or Unix generally, whatever operating system. And then once you have that, you can decide what vendor or what proprietary application you want to load on that system, and then you load it. So you are not going to buy a router to connect that Glo Port Harcourt to Glo Lagos. You are not going to install the radios and the mast and the antennas and all the infrastructure. By infrastructure, I mean all these components I'm mentioning one by one, from system to switch to router to cable to all of them. They are called IT infrastructure. So you are not going to get this infrastructure one by one anymore. No. Someone somewhere has already provided them in a data center. And all you do now, instead of going to Obunabale Market or Computer Village to buy all these things, is connect to that data infrastructure of that person that is housed in a data center. And then you can have access to all the resources, all the IT infrastructure that you would normally be buying in the real world. So this idea of building robust, highly scalable systems and solutions, not with physical equipment anymore within an enterprise organization. That Glo office that we were building the network on is called an enterprise environment. Not that kind of traditional method anymore. But this time, even from your laptop or from wherever you are in the world, you are accessing the IT infrastructure of somebody else, of another person, of a company that has provided this infrastructure. So because you are not seeing this infrastructure, you are not buying them, they are not yours. You don't have to wait for NEPA before you can power them. You don't have to bother about, oh, what about if the RAM goes bad? You are not seeing them, but you have access, full access to them, and you are using them. They are therefore called cloud, meaning, well, they are there, you are using them. So you imagine they are hidden behind the cloud because you cannot see them. So in place of physical tools, you will learn services and applications within the cloud that you can now use to do your system assembly, your uploading of your operating system, putting your different applications on the operating system, configuring your security so that not just anyone would come and have access. You can restrict who has access to what. Implementing, there are a lot of, in fact, there are over 1,500 different services that are available for you to implement on this network that you have built for yourself in cloud. So generally, that network that you have built for Glow, not physical network that fire can burn, but network built somewhere that you may not even know in cloud, that network becomes your private virtual cloud, PVC. So how do you build this PVC? How do you go to cloud and know what to take to assemble? Of the 1,500 available resources, which of them do you need and how do you use it? So the world now opens up to you as limitless possibilities because you now have access to a lot of tools that you can use to implement virtually anything, from Internet of Things to machine learning to just being a network administrator for Zenith Bank remotely to, there are millions of possibilities now. Once you know that this thing called cloud exists, you know how to use them, you know the different tools available and what you could use these tools to achieve. You now have companies coming to you to say, okay, there was a fire incident and it burnt all our servers, and then we lost $3 million in the process of recapturing all of this. We do not want this to happen in the future. We want to transfer the responsibility of our IT infrastructure to another company so that we'll never have an incident of fire. We'll never have a fire incident. And if we do have fire incidents, it will not destroy. It will just be a matter of moving my laptop to a new building, connecting to my cloud facility, and continuing as if there was no fire at all, as if nothing happened. So they contract Oluwatosin Jegede and say, please come as a cloud engineer. Come and help us transfer all of our databases from Zenith or GTB head office onto cloud so that we can enjoy the benefits of cloud, which we do not know yet. We're going to talk about them. And more importantly, would be secure in knowing that whatever happens, whether Lagos youth decide to riot, whether COVID-19 decides to lock up the economy for another 12 months, whatever happens, our infrastructure is intact and we can continue to work from wherever we are. Worst scenario is even if we do not go to office, people can work remotely from their homes, from whatever they choose, and business will still go on. When they contract you as a cloud engineer, although this work is in reality, it is too big for one person only to do. You work in teams. At least you have an idea what you need to do to achieve this. So the person who has learned cloud engineering wide enough to know how to design that solution. What you have presented to them is called a solution. So you know how to, what the capacity of system that they need for now, the capacity of system that will sustain them forever, even though you want to, as much as possible, minimize the cost, how much they spend on those infrastructure now. what applications they need to put on those facilities in order to guarantee that the objective of setting up that facility is met. The person who knows about all of this is called a solutions architect. Cloud engineering is wide. There are different segments, different areas, different arms, different specializations. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for within cloud engineering. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to be too technical at this stage, so we'll talk about all of that later. But essentially, what I'm saying is cloud engineering takes away the traditional way of doing IT and takes you to a new level where you no longer work with physical equipment, physical IT infrastructure. You are now working with invisible IT infrastructure, and you are now able to do on that platform what you would normally do and even more within an IT, within an enterprise environment. There are many vendors, many third parties providing this environment called cloud that already has all of these facilities, all of this IT infrastructure that we're talking about. The three biggest of them is Amazon Web Services, AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud. There are others like Oracle and so on and so forth, but these are the three biggest cloud providers. So in cloud, you will be using at least one of these providers to do the job that I just enumerated, the job I just tried to explain of cloud engineering. So I'll take a break here just to make sure you understand now, at least you have an overview, not really understanding. You have an overview of what cloud is. When we say cloud engineering, cloud infrastructure, IT infrastructure, enterprise environment, even though we're not technical yet, I just need you to grasp, to have a grasp of what these terms mean, so that we can move on to begin to discuss further. So I'll take a break and take questions from you.
Okay, Prince, you're talking now. When you talk about the cloud infrastructure, for sure there will be a physical location wherein the equipments will be stored, right?
Yeah.
Or kept or safely kept.
Correct.
And then your clients, for instance, Zenith Bank, all they have to do is log on to a website which you will assign to them. Hope I'm correct.
Yeah, just go on with your question because I don't want to go technical. I don't want to go too technical now. You are taking us.
Now, basically, the person you're meant to provide services for must have an internet connection and must have your gateway pass on the internet to be able to access their own applications stored at your own back end. Hope I'm correct.
Well, so far so good. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to ask a question. Yes, I'm just. I am sure at least one person here has not heard about cloud engineering before. So I'm just cautious not to take you too far so that we don't lose that person and then we just make him lose interest. The way you try to explain those things from a layman perspective, yes, but of course, by the time you start cloud proper, you see that, yeah, they do need, once you have come, okay, first of all, you are correct to say that even though these things are cloud and invisible, they are actually physical equipment somewhere in a data center. That place where these physical equipment are kept is called data center, and they are scattered around the world. So there's a data center for Amazon, for example, because we'll be looking at cloud engineering from the Amazon Web Services perspective. They have data centers. They have like 7 data centers around the world. America, Europe, I mean, different parts of Europe. They do not have any in Africa, then Asia and all of that. So these are big, big warehouses, very big warehouses of IT infrastructure, server everywhere. Yes. So even though they are cloud, they're actually physical somewhere. They are just cloud to you. And then the person for whom you are providing the services, Zenith Bank, for example, yes, they would need access to cloud. Generally, access to cloud is through internet. Not necessarily through a website, but how do they get it? We'll talk about that later. Unless you have built your application to be a website. Well, it doesn't have to be through a website. Ibikunle, are you still there?
I'm with you.
All right. So do you have questions? Olumide Uju, I need to feel you guys. I need to know you are following so that we don't just do a abracadabra and at the end of the day, you don't get what we are saying. Oluwatosin Jegede. Onobekun.
I'm with you, sir.
Onobekun Aziz. Onobekun, is that the correct spelling?
Yes.
Is that the
Yes.
correct pronunciation?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm with you.
Okoyemi Adebayo. Adebisi Wasiu. Okay, so questions, please. Okoyemi, what do you understand by cloud?
Hello.
Yeah, Okoyemi. You are going to be a cloud engineer. What do you understand by cloud? It doesn't matter how you explain it. Just give me a feeling of what you know, what you understand by cloud.
Just like you're saying, I don't want to quote all this physical server. I also want to handle all these resources for me. Then let me just pay you. Just give me access to these resources.
Okay, that's fine. So who is completely new? Okoyemi talk like somebody who already knew this thing before the webinar. So who is completely new to cloud here?
Aziz.
Okay, Aziz. So Aziz, let me have your understanding of cloud. What do you think cloud is?
Based on your explanation, clouding it's a scenario whereby you save something. What would I call it? Instead of using a physical, I'll put it in a scenario like when you have a system, you are saving something in a system. So you're having it in a system and also as an iDrive, whereby nobody will be able to touch it. Like you're saving it in a place whereby nobody will be able to touch it. That physical away from physical damages also.
Okay, so that's one advantage. Anyway, it's okay, but that's a very, very tiny view of cloud. I'm looking at cloud not just as a saving place where nobody can see it. I'm looking at cloud from the enterprise perspective. The enterprise environment perspective. Cloud is much bigger than just saving something to iCloud and all of that. But okay, at least you didn't learn that from me. I wanted to hear what you learned from me today. But it's all good. Let's go on. Hopefully you catch up by the time we.
Yes.
All right. So now that I assume you know what cloud is, what is the route? What's the route? Whether you call it route or route work, correct. What's the route to becoming a cloud engineer? To become a cloud engineer, you need to first of all at least be a network administrator. The network administrator. Now, you see why? Was that Aziz? Aziz, yes. You see why I didn't take your explanation like that, because there is work to do in cloud. It's not just saving. So if you are administering network for JAM, for example, and then we're going to write JAM exam, millions of people are going to log on and have access to questions, and then we'll mark. So to make that exam possible so that people can write exam online, there has to be some network administrator that would grant access, at least for that examination period. to the millions of people that will be writing exam within that hour. So how do you begin to create? Okay, don't even worry about that. Let's say that's a big example. Let's come to a smaller example. What is a small company? Suppose you work in a small organization. Let's say, give me an example of a company around you there. Yeah, let's say MTN. You work for MTN. And you come to your desk and you are trying to connect, you are trying to load the MTN proprietary software for determining, okay, for a meeting with your boss in whatever the MTN head office is. But you want to connect. There are 50 of you trying to connect, just like we are doing now. And your boss is trying to connect and is not able to connect. So there has to be a network administrator that will come check and say, what's the problem? Why is your boss not able to connect to this meeting? Has there been some restriction barring that particular computer from connecting? Has there been some restriction barring that particular user from connecting? Has there been somebody hacking into the system, doing some malicious work and making it impossible for that connection to take place? It is the work of the network administrator, not just to set up the network like we explained earlier on, create user accounts and administer, manage them, but also to constantly ensure that the network is always working optimally, that everyone who should have access has access, and anyone who should not have access does not have access. So when you go to cloud, I'm looking at you going into cloud to administer that Zenith Bank network that you set up earlier, or that somebody else set up and then handed over to Zenith Bank and say, I've completed my work as an engineer. It's now up to Zenith Bank to hire a network administrator to manage that network to meet the objective of the network, because there's a reason you set it up in the first place. So this is not a physical server now that you can go and plug cable or unplug cable or plug a switch. Or no, this is in cloud. These are invisible. How do you administer a network in cloud if you cannot administer a network in real life? So first of all, you need to learn how to administer a Windows network in real life. And then later you can now migrate that knowledge to cloud to go and do it in cloud. So you are going to learn Windows Server Administration. Because irrespective of what we talk about, this application, that application, Windows is still the most used application in the world today. Windows. If you don't know Windows, then how do you not just know Windows by being able to click here and there, but being able to do the technical work that the users of Windows require in order to be able to use Windows effectively. So that is part of cloud engineering. By my design as the expert here, I'm not saying that these 4 courses are the courses you must always take to be a cloud engineer. There are so many IT courses. For me, this is the 4 courses I have chosen to make my own trainees cloud engineers, based on what I know, based on what I have done, based on what the market is looking for. The second thing is Red Hat Linux administration. Now, Linux is another kind of operating system different from Windows. Windows is the most common, most basic operating system that everyone knows. Now, for enterprise jobs, for jobs where you have to do this same work for 50,000, 500,000, 20, okay, maybe I'm exaggerating when I say 500,000, but ideally, 20,000 workers, 20,000 accounts within an environment. You don't do the same job. You don't repeat the same job 20,000 times in order to get the job done for 20,000 people. So the Linux operating system is an enterprise. Anytime I say enterprise, what should come to your mind is high number of people, like 20,000 people or accounts. Let me not call them people. Like you are dealing with 5,000 accounts at once. That's enterprise. You are dealing with 10,000 network accounts at once. That's enterprise. You are dealing with 20,000 accounts at once. That's enterprise. So what is the way to simplify administration within enterprise? By typing in, Windows. Windows is graphic user environment. So you see graphics on your screen, and then you move your mouse to click. That takes up a lot of memory. So if you have to repeat graphic user environment for 20,000 people, you'll be using so much resources. But within Linux is not graphics use, it's command line interface. So you can just type a simple command that will do for you what might take you more effort to do within Windows environment. So you have to learn Linux. Linux will place you in a position to work most effectively and most efficiently in enterprise environment. And then there is a third course called AWS Certified Solutions Architect. Remember, AWS is not the only cloud provider, but we have to use one at least. I have started a class already, and my trainees tell me that in Nigeria, AWS is not very common. That what is most common in Nigeria, the cloud provider that is most common in Nigeria is Microsoft Azure. So I have taken note of that, and I'll begin to see how I can begin to diversify and include Microsoft Azure examples in subsequent, in the real training. But for now, what I am bringing on board is I am viewing cloud from the perspective of AWS because I'm an AWS person. So, pardon me when I begin to say AWS for now instead of talking cloud. You know what, in biology in those days, when you say draw a fish, you don't draw the fishes in the ocean. You just take a typical fish. I mean, just take one fish and you say, this represents all fishes. And then you can, label it, this is fish. So it's the same thing here. We don't really have to know all the cloud providers and refer to them one by one. Bear with me, let us look. And the reason we are taking AWS is because it is the market leader. It is, if there are 100 people using cloud today in the world, over 30 of them are using AWS cloud. So if you are training to become a cloud engineer, and then these are the people that will employ you. So you are looking at the people that will employ me, what do most of them use? So that is the major reason for choosing cloud. Now I'm training you for global market, not just for Nigeria market. However, like I said, I'm going to put into consideration what's in use in Nigeria and incorporate that as much as possible. Now back to AWS. Some people will tell you, or you may have found out, or you may think that once you have AWS, once you are AWS, you're a cloud engineer. Well, from the layman's perspective, that is correct. But from somebody who has been working in industry for over 15 years, no. Being an AWS person does not make you a cloud engineer. Being an AWS person or a cloud person just gives you enough insight to be able to put cloud infrastructure together. But what do you do with that cloud infrastructure after it is put together? When you build a network in cloud, I told you that network that you build in cloud is called private virtual cloud. So when you build a PVC in cloud, what do you do on that PVC? How do you put operating system on them? How do you secure them? Because cloud is just there for anybody. Anybody can go to cloud. Millions of people. How do you secure it so that it actually becomes private and not available for everyone? So if you don't know Windows administration, you don't know Linux administration, you may be limited in what you can do within the cloud, even though you have created your own private cloud. If you don't know Windows administration, you don't know Linux administration, how can Zenith Bank give you their network and say, help us manage? Another word for manage is administer or administrator. Help us manage our network. Network management is so wide, and security is a core thing. That's why I hear people talking about cybersecurity, cybersecurity, cybersecurity. Because everything now is going cloud, and cloud is just like the internet. It's just there. Anybody can access it unless you make special effort to secure it and make it private. So AWS is the real cloud, but AWS alone by itself does not make you a cloud engineer. And then there is a fourth course. This is the route that you are going to take to become a cloud engineer. The fourth course is we call DevOps. In DevOps, you are going to learn, yes, under AWS, I mean, the real cloud, you know how to implement things, you know how to do things. But it is no longer enough. The world is moving so fast. No one is waiting for anybody. It's no longer enough to know how to do things. It is now very important to know how to automate these things to do themselves. So as a cloud engineer, Zenith Bank manager or CEO does not call you and say, Dikbo Obicheson, we need 50 more systems to be implemented now, because as a result of COVID, people are no longer going out, they are operating from home. Our private referral network is congested. We need to quickly expand our network. In fact, it's not going to tell you we need 50 systems. As a cloud engineer, you know how many systems you need to add to meet. He's going to tell you something like, we'll be having people trying to come online and then the system is rejecting them and they are getting this error where. So it's now up to you to decode, to decipher that business objective to mean that what you need to do is to do this, do this, do this. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is, if, for example, the solution is to expand to, it's not actually called expand technically, it's called upscale your infrastructure by adding 50 more systems. Nobody is going to wait for Kunle to be adding 1 system, 2 systems, 3 systems, 4 systems until they become 50. No. The world would have overtaken you, even if that takes you only 30 minutes to do. So if there is a single command, just one command that you can enter, and 50 systems will not only automatically create themselves, they will also automatically put all the necessary operating systems, all the necessary security, all the necessary security protocols that you have configured for Zenith Bank over the years that you have been working with them. In fact, it will just replicate, that's the word, it will just replicate the optimum system that is currently working 50 times just by entering a single command. That is awesome. So what is the command that you can just enter and then everything will just happen automatically? And in 10 seconds, that long explanation from your CEO that made it look like, this business is going to crumble now if nothing is done. In 10 seconds, it is done. Don't you see that with that kind of knowledge, you are a hot cake, that America will be begging you to come to America to work for them. Everybody will want you. And then you can now say, no, I'm not taking 10,000, I'm going to take 15,000. So ultimately, that is where you are going with all of this knowledge, all of these skills that we are trying to develop. At the level of Windows administrator, yeah, you can be a Windows administrator, but there are many Windows administrators. Is that where you want to stop? No, you are learning it to get somewhere. It's just one step in the right direction. At the level of Linux, that is much better. You are higher because it's a pyramid. Right now, you are at the bottom. You are trying to learn as much skills as possible within the next 6 months to get to the top of that pyramid. So that when they are looking for an expert, if you're at the bottom and there are 500 qualified people at the bottom, by the time you get to close to the top, there will only be 5 people who can do that. So by the time you get to AWS, oh, wow, cloud, you are now in cloud proper. At the level of the fourth course of AWS, that is where you actually begin cloud. Well, after you have completed your AWS cloud and you're looking for a job, you now realize that, they told me that once I know cloud, that there will be jobs. You now realize that you really don't know much until you know DevOps. So these are the 4 courses that will make you ultimately cloud engineer by my own design, by the design of Akin Aregbesola. If you go anywhere or ask anybody, what courses do I need to take to become a proper cloud engineer? They are not likely to give you these courses. I'm sure they will just say, go and do AWS. I mean, go and do, or go and do Amazon, go and do Microsoft Azure, or go and do Google Cloud. But in reality, these things by themselves, only these things by themselves do not make you cloud engineer. You need to know more than that. All right, so let's move on. So that's the route. And for the prospects, I mean, we have already talked about that. We cannot emphasize. Not going to cloud is like somebody deciding to live in a hut when he sees other people living in duplexes, living in mansions, and he has access. What will make you live in a hut where you go to latrine when you can live in a duplex where you use real toilets? Why would you live in a hut when you can live in an apartment where you have access to controlled environment? If you need AC is there. If you need heater is there. I mean, cloud is just, there's no alternative to cloud. And people, the current alternative to cloud is IT infrastructure within an enterprise environment. There are many reasons why cloud is better than that. There are so many reasons. So many reasons. Physical security, data security is very expensive. If something like this happens, like it's happening now, COVID, and you don't have to go out, where would you get the NEPA to power your systems? Where would you get the staff to come to? In fact, you can list 100 advantages, 100 reasons why you should move from enterprise infrastructure to cloud infrastructure. And as long as people are continuing to move from premises-based infrastructure to cloud-based infrastructure, then there are always opportunities and prospects for the people who are qualified to work in the new cloud environment. Okay? So as this just mentioned, a personal use of cloud. No, we are going much deeper than personal use. That is not even cloud. Okay. Begin to look at cloud for corporate use, for enterprise use. All right, so let's go on so that I'll give you plenty of room to ask questions. And then the opportunities. It is a good thing to be employed. Of course, at this level, I'm assuming that most of you are freshers from university. You still don't know what the real world is, so it might be a bit early. Unless you're in a developed country like here, where you have seen things over time, and you have a fairly clear vision of what you want to be. At this level, I'm assuming that all you just need now is a good job as a cloud engineer that will give you good money. Otherwise, by the time you have access to these tools, like I said, it will open up your reasoning. This is the tool that these people use to do this thing. If that is the case, then me also can do this, and then you can bring out you can promote the creativity and the innovations in you. Like we're already seeing. Somebody woke up and said, instead of the regular TV, why don't we just use cloud facility? So instead of saving just files, you can save videos there, and then we'll make it available for people to use. And then he called it Netflix. And then they are making money, not just in millions of dollars, they are making billions of dollars just by being creative on somebody else's facility. I think Netflix uses Amazon Cloud Service.
Amazon.
Exactly.
Yeah, they use Amazon.
So you see that this company that is making billions of dollars do not really need more than 4, 5 regular staff. The rest will just be cloud engineers like you, working remotely to support them. And that person can come up and say, instead of people needing to drive all the way from VI to Ikeja to hold meeting and then go back in traffic, why don't we just put up an app where they can do video and we all interact with ourselves and we don't miss anything? And they do it and they call it Zoom and then give it whatever name. And then they will be expecting like 40,000, 50,000 people to register. And now they are serving millions. Billions. I mean, this is one man's idea, but because it has grown so big, we don't see to remember that it's one man's idea anymore. So in the same way, there are so many tools that you are, because if you don't know the tools, if you don't see that they exist, then your brain, your mind cannot capture how can I use it. But by the time you see, you mean this tool is there, they might begin to get idea. But even then, that's not the primary thing. Primary thing is there are so many people who already have the ideas and they have set up businesses around those ideas and they are looking for cloud engineers to work for them. Even as tiny as TTC Mobile is in the area of developing cloud engineering, in the area of creating a community of cloud engineers, I am already thinking of a cloud engineer to support me. Not to talk of companies that are making billions. And there are very many of them. Small ones, especially here, just a small company that is not known, and then something like COVID just happens, and then there is one now that Pentagon House. In fact, big companies and big enterprises that ordinarily would not even talk to one small man. You just say, you just develop something unique, and then you just say, we need that. And then they just give the company 2.7 million, not even company, it's a two-man enterprise. You can't call them company. But because they were creative and they were able to develop a solution around just one of the cloud tools, they were given $2.7 million to develop it more, so that what department is it? It's a defense department of the US, either the Pentagon building or NAS or something. But the point I'm trying to make is there are tools, and these tools can be used to create solutions. And there are always people looking for solutions. That's the point I'm just making. Whether you are that person who is able to use the tool to create solution, or you are working collaboratively with that person, there are opportunities for you. Personally, I'll be giving you links to explore IT jobs in Canada and Europe. Not in America, because America is no longer giving that kind of visa that will bring you in here to work as an IT professional. When they were giving, Indians are the primary people to consider. So here, especially in Dallas, Texas, because this is an IT hub. Dallas, Texas is an IT hub in the US. There are so many, in fact, this place is owned by Indians. The IT industry here is owned by Indians. Because what Indians do is the kind of thing I'm trying to do with you now. I'll train you to become cloud engineers so that when opportunities open, it's not just be a matter of, I know you, I don't have a godfather. No, you know this stuff. Just prove to them that you know it. And then they will give you the right visa that will help you come and work here and settle down here and earn good money, because IT professionals earn good money. I'm not saying that is what I'm going to do. I'm just saying this is why there are so many Indians here. They explored the opportunities while the opportunities lasted. Right now, they are not there, but they could change in the near future, or it could be that, okay, we would never need you to come over here. You can work for us remotely. Our system is so secure. We are confident that if we give you access to our platform through some kind of internet, like Prince we said, from wherever, whether from Nigeria, even though we are known for bad things, we are confident that you'll be able to do. Okay, do it from there, I will pay you. And that's what's in vogue. That's what we call the gig economy. You know, I mentioned gig economy somewhere in my paper. Anyway, but out of these 3 links, one of them will be able to, once you qualify, there'll be a series of interviews, and then once you prove that you know it, you'll do. This is not, please, this is just by the way. This is not the reason you are doing the training, and I'm not promising. I'm just saying that there is a link that is able to do all expense paid migration as an IT professional abroad. I will not tell you whether it's America, whether it's Asia, whether it's Europe, but it's there. All you need to do is get yourself ready by learning and knowing this thing. I had an inquiry, somebody was asking, if we know this thing, how do we get a job? Would you give us a job? That's not the reason you are doing this thing to know it. After you know it, it is not me that will give jobs. The jobs are all over the place. The jobs are all over the place. So doing this and asking that kind of question, I don't even know how to answer. How would I begin to answer a cloud engineer? If you don't know it, you don't know it, you will never get a job. But if you do know it, you learn this thing, you know it, do this, you do it, do this, you do it, do this, you do it. You're just like a footballer who knows how to play. So I am your coach. I'll be telling you this skill that you have, this is how to make the best use of it and to get the result that I will, you have so many kinds of information bombarding you from left and right, but I'll help you to be focused. But as far as the skill is concerned, you are the one who will learn it. All the materials, all the encouragement, all the everything you need, I will provide for you to learn. The only issue would be, are you ready to learn? Once you are ready to learn and you follow me step by step and you get there, out of what I expect you to know, you know 70, 80% of the total curriculum, then you're not the one that will be asking, how do I get a job? Just focus on learning it. The job will look for you. So these are the opportunities that we are looking forward to. Our 6 months online cloud engineering training. Let's talk specifically about our own 6 months training. It's online. You get the one that cloud engineering is not literature. You are going to see a lot of those demos, especially in video training, and you are going to wonder, is this simple? But it's so simple now. Oh, I didn't know it's this simple. They are going to look simple, but if you don't practice them, you will not get there. Somebody else doing it and making it appear simple, it's not the same thing as you doing it and gaining the experience. So you need to practice. There is a lot of work to do here. If you want to become a cloud engineer, that the kind of cloud engineer we're talking about with plenty of opportunities, you need to practice. Don't say, I know how to create account. It is just not to go to the domain controller, right click. No, do it. And make sure you do it, make mistakes, do it again until somebody can wake you up from sleep and say, come and do it, and then you do it. This is the way to get a job. And when the people who want to employ you, when they interview you, when they find out what you know, they know the difference between who has done it. And I mean, these are people with 15 years experience, 20 years. In fact, even if it's 5 years experience, they do these things every day. When they ask you, can you create a user account and give him access to printer? The way you answer will show them, yes, you know it, or no, you don't know it. They don't have to bring a system and say, come and do it. And there is no, if you say you have to be confident, you have to be confident. Confidence is a result of what you have inside of you. If I say do it, it is only if you have done it before and it is there, that is when you can be confident. There is nothing like one. It's not like last minute revision. I'm going for interview tomorrow, last minute revision. No. It's the little things that you would have practiced over the next 6 months that makes you a cloud engineer. Okay. All right. So you'll get a lot of things from this training. Me and my team will be practicing cloud engineers to be supporting you online. There'll be a forum on ttcmobileworld.com. And then once you have the question, for now, okay, when you have questions, just post it on the forum and then we can reply. And then pose questions, we can give you answers. The practice will be on you. We'll give you video materials that will take you step by step through practice. All right. Then we'll hold classes once a week, every Saturday, 3 o'clock. So last Saturday, I had a session, the first section actually. I had the first session ever. That we had so I have a class of 7 people right now. Hopefully, I'm able to raise 3 additional people from this meeting to join those so that I can take you a makeup class during the week. By Saturday, the 3 new people will join those 7 people, and altogether will be 10. I'm comfortable taking 10 people. Right now, I'm looking for 3 people to join that class. Okay, so Saturday from 9 o'clock my time, 9 a.m., but your time, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Okay, and then so hopefully I'm able to raise those 3. Then rubbing minds. What I mean by rubbing minds, and that's Nigerian language. By rubbing mind, I mean it is one thing for you to learn on your own. It's another thing for you to discuss with somebody who is practicing and who has done these things. That's part of the training. That rubbing mind part of the training is very, very, very vital. And that's where you are going to gain advantage over somebody who is studying this thing on his own. It's going to take him like 2 years, but with a coach guiding you, telling you, no, that's not it, this is it. I can attend interview every day on your behalf if I want to. So that I'll know the kind of questions. In fact, I can attend the same interview you are attending. So that before you get the questions, prepare the answers, not like mentally give you the answer so that you can just, just guide you, give you what to focus on, how to answer and all of that. So it's all part of rubbing mind, experiencing it before you, so that by the time you are experiencing it, you already have the foundation knowledge of, okay, this is what it should be and this is how it should be. Right? So employers would invite you based on what you have on your CV. So how do you now craft a good CV that will say, wow, this, because it's not just a matter of saying I'm a cloud engineer. There are key terms, key words that you use in your CV to make somebody know, no, this guy knows what he's saying. If you say you're a DevOps person, what have you done in DevOps? There are things you would say and your CV will be hotcake. So as part of the training, we'll help you prepare that kind of CV. So on one hand, we'll market your skills locally and internationally for remote cloud engineering roles. On the other hand, we'll direct you to places. But that's not even the primary thing. I already assured you, it is not the job that is the thing. The thing is prepare yourself for opportunities. Just know at the back of your mind that there are opportunities. Focus on training. Train hard. Consider yourself, see yourself like an athlete. Be a footballer, maybe a runner. Train hard, train hard, train hard, train hard. Just focus on training hard. Whether you are going to win that match, whether you are going to win that race, leave that one. Put all the efforts. Convert the efforts you would use to think about, if I don't win, or if I would just continue to train hard. It's the same thing here. It's the same thing here. Train hard. They are not difficult, but it's just consistency and making up. Because it's not like you're not children. I'm not like holding a cane and saying, go and practice. No, but you have to practice by yourself. Practice until you know it. Then once you practice together, we can explore the power of remote learning to achieve for you in 6 months at only $600. That which would take you 2 years of formal education, and of course, much more money to achieve. All right. So I'm sure you have seen the website. If you have not already seen the website and you just came for this webinar, you are not going to make a good cloud engineer. So once you saw the advert, the next thing to do as somebody who will be a good cloud engineer is to go to the website, get as much information as you need to make up your mind if this is where you want to go. Okay. All the same, even though I assume you have seen this on the website, I'm still going to emphasize that the material for training, you cannot do without them. I cannot train you alone. There are trainers working with me. The ones I know, the ones I don't know, materials here and there that can build you and mold you into what you desire to be. Without those materials, you cannot learn cloud engineering just from Akin Aregbesola. Cloud engineering is too wide for just one man to teach you, unless it's going to take us 5 years. So you don't need training material for each of those 4 courses. And that will cost you $30 a module. But the training fee proper is $70 a module. All right? You can get all of this information and sign up for training at this address, ttcmobileworld.com, then click register. Then you will see all the details about money, how to pay, and I prefer payment online. I prefer that you click the button to make payment. When you do that, the money is coming to TTC Mobile USA. So that way the government can look at the account and take their taxes directly from the account. It pays me to pay tax here because there are many benefits. So I prefer to take the money in dollars, and that's why the payment on the website is in dollars than to take in Naira. However, if you do have issues making payment online, because I've had a couple of persons, most people were able to register online, making payment online. Because that way it's transparent to US IRS. This is what is coming in, this is what. So if you do have issues trying to make payment online, if you let me know, then we can look for a way around. All right, thank you very much. Now we can take questions and questions and questions and questions so that you are now able to determine, make up your mind. Is this where I want to go? Or am I not really fit for this? You know, what will do next?
Hello, Mr. King.
All right, yes.
Okay. I think I paid rapt attention to every word that did come forth from your mouth. And I must tell you, I am satisfied with your ability to convey information on a clear term. You understand me?
I appreciate that. Who is that talking?
Prince Will.
Prince Will, okay.
Great. Well,
So can you see me now, Prince Will?
You said?
Can you see the video? Can you see me?
Yeah.
Yes, I can see you.
Okay. All right, so.
Okay. You had earlier said some of us are just fresh school leavers.
Yeah.
And we are yet to find our feet fully. And the economy, like you know too well, in this part of the divide, is not really funny enough. I have just done a rough estimation and conversion of that for $20 into Naira.
Actually 600. Sorry, Prince Will. That 420 is an error. If you add the cost material now, it's actually 600.
Okay, that's $600.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I will appeal if you could bring down the price to what we can comfortably afford, or not just comfortably, what we can press forward to affording because of this cost. Because I am very